Mikel Arteta walks into his press conference on Wednesday afternoon and the first question hits him exactly where Arsenal fans have been anxious all week. Max Daumann, Bukayo Saka, Martin Ødegaard, three names that have dominated the conversation in North London, and only one of them is getting close to a return. The timing could not be more delicate. Arsenal sits at the top of the Premier League with 56 points from 25 games. They have 17 wins, 5 draws and 3 losses. The numbers tell you they are in a title race, but the fixture list tells you something else entirely. Thursday night at the G-Tech Community Stadium against Brentford, then the FA Cup against Wigan at the weekend, and looming beyond that, the Manchester City fixtures that everyone knows will define this season. But right now, in this moment, Arteta has to solve a problem that has been building for weeks. His squad is stretched. His key players are either unavailable or carrying knocks. And the manager, who was supposed to be leading Brentford's resistance, Thomas Frank, is no longer there. Frank was sacked by Tottenham on Wednesday, February 11th, after less than 8 months in charge. Spurs sit 16th in the Premier League. The decision was ruthless and quick. And now Brentford, managed by Keith Andrews, have just beaten Newcastle 3-2 and are sitting 7th with 39 points from 25 games. This is the context Arteta is operating in. This is the tactical puzzle he has to solve while managing expectations, protecting his players and keeping Arsenal's momentum intact. The evidence suggests this is one of the most precarious moments of Arsenal's season, not because they are losing, but because the margin for error has disappeared completely. If you want deeper analysis on stories like this, hit that subscribe button right now. This is where we break down the decisions that matter, the tactics that win titles and the moments that define seasons. Subscribe to Arsenal Daily News for the full picture every single day. Let me take you through what Arteta actually said on Wednesday, because buried in his measured responses are the answers to questions that will determine whether Arsenal can sustain this title challenge or whether it collapses under the weight of fixture, congestion and injury crisis. The injury situation is the first pressure point. Max Daumann, the 16-year-old midfielder who has been turning heads in training and in limited appearances, is still not available. Arteta is clear about this. He says Daumann is doing very well and will be back with the team in about a week. Then he can pick up the rhythm and be available for selection again. That puts Daumann's return somewhere around mid-February, possibly in time for the fixtures after the FA Cup weekend. But Thursday against Brentford is too soon. The kid is not ready yet. Bukayo Saka is the name that makes Arsenal fans hold their breath. Saka is set to be unavailable again as he continues to manage a hip injury. He has already missed wins over Chelsea and Sunderland. The fact that Arteta is still being cautious with Saka tells you everything you need to know about how serious Arsenal are taking this. They are not rushing him back, they are protecting him for the long run. But that leaves a gap in the starting 11 that has to be filled, and the options are limited. Martin Ødegaard is the most intriguing case. The Arsenal captain has missed those same 2 games with a minor muscle issue. At the press conference, Arteta was asked directly about Ødegaard's availability for Brentford and whether there was a time frame for his return. Arteta's response was fascinating. He said they would see with the medical team. Then, when pushed on whether Ødegaard was definitely out and what the time frame looked like, Arteta cut in quickly. He said, "I didn't say that. That response tells you something important. Ødegaard is not definitely out. The decision has not been made yet." Arteta is keeping his cards close to his chest, which is smart tactical management. If Brentford do not know whether Ødegaard will play, they cannot prepare specifically for his absence. But it also tells you that Ødegaard is genuinely uncertain. If he was definitely fit, Arteta would say so. If he was definitely out, Arteta would confirm it. The fact that he is hedging means the medical team are making a game-time decision, and that suggests Ødegaard is close, but not quite there. Leandro Trossard adds another layer of complexity. Trossard was forced off late against Sunderland, and when Arteta was asked about injuries, he grouped Trossard in with Ødegaard, saying they would see with the medical team. Trossard is now a doubt for Thursday, which narrows Arteta's options even further. Then there is Mikel Merino. Merino is the long-term casualty. Arteta confirmed that Merino underwent surgery recently, and the doctors were really happy with how it went. But the time frame is sobering. Merino is facing months on the sideline. Arteta says they are talking about bone healing, which means 3, 4 or 5 months. They do not know exactly, but Merino will not be back anytime soon. That is a significant blow to Arsenal's midfield depth. especially given how well Merino had been performing before the injury. Now, let me explain why these injuries matter so much in the context of what Arteta is trying to do tactically. If Ødegaard is ruled out, Kai Havertz is likely to keep his place in midfield. Havertz has impressed since his return to the side. He brings physicality, intelligent movement, and a goal threat that Arsenal need when Ødegaard is absent. But Havertz in midfield changes the balance of the team. It makes Arsenal slightly more direct, slightly less intricate in the final third. That is not necessarily a bad thing against a team like Brentford, who will sit deep and look to counter. But it is a change that Arteta has to manage carefully. Declan Rice and Martin Zubimendi are the constants in midfield right now. Both of them will need to be rested at some point. But Arsenal host Wigan in the FA Cup this weekend, and Arteta made it clear that changes are expected to happen then rather than against Brentford. That tells you Thursday is being treated as a priority. Brentford away is a game Arsenal cannot afford to drop points in, not with Manchester City breathing down their necks. The defensive rotation is another decision Arteta has to make. Riccardo Calafiori struggled on Saturday against Sunderland in what was his first Premier League start since December. If there is rotation in defence, Piero Hincapié could come in for Calafiori. Arteta could also opt to be cautious and start Gabriel Martinelli, who impressed off the bench in that match. The predicted lineup has Raya in goal, Timber, Saliba, Gabriel and Hincapié in defence, Zubimendi and Rice in midfield, Madueke, Havertz and Martinelli supporting Victor Gyökeres up front. And that brings us to the most fascinating storyline in Arsenal's squad right now. Victor Gyökeres.